Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. As far as Imran Khan Saab's latest statement on contesting on the 9 seats out of the 11 that have been vacated as a result of the resignations that were made by the PTI, we'll be talking about what are the ramifications of this new statement that he said that he wants to contest on all of those 9 seats. What can he do legally? Of course, he can't retain all of them. What does it mean for the overall political process? Will it also continue? Because in the background, we've also seen the Tehreek-e-Insaf go to court on 2 issues. One being that they've challenged the schedule of the elections that has been issued by the Election Commission, and 2, they've also gone to court on the issue of the resignations being accepted piecemeal. In that background, will the bypolls happen in this piecemeal manner? Of course, that case is fixed for Wednesday, as I understand. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about, of course, the ramifications of the foreign funding case and how the government plans to proceed with that. There's a lot of debate going on as to whether it's a declaration or an affidavit which has been tendered by Imran Khan Saab. What will happen as far as in courts, whether it will go to Supreme Court, all of that. In the background, of course, of the cabinet having been sworn in recently, a couple of days ago in Punjab Assembly, the PTI very much at the helm of affairs, both in KP and Punjab, and not resigning there, forming governments there. All of that today on Perspective. A little later on, we'll also be talking about the situation in Palestine, the brutality at the hands of the Israel armed forces. A little later on, we'll talk about that. I have with me Asif Mahmood, who's a columnist, also a political analyst. Thank you for joining us today. Also, Barrister Yasir Latif Hamdani, who's a legal expert. Thank you for being with us. We also have with us Kaisar Ahmed Sheikh, who's an M&A with PMLN. And Abdullah Mumtaz Kaloon, who is with the PTI. Thank you for joining us. Ji, Yasir, there's a lot that has been said on the statement that has come out from Imran Khan Saab that he will be contesting on 9 of those 11 seats. The 2 others are, of course, nominated. But in terms of what this means for the overall, the way that it's, I want to talk about how seriously the political process is being taken overall. Because when you have somebody of Imran Khan Saab's, he's heading a political party, a very large political party, as the PTI supporters are fond of saying, and for him to make this statement, and then of course the by-elections that will follow on 8 of the seats, whichever one he chooses to retain, and the kind of expense that we're looking at. Can you take us through that? Of course, legally he's only allowed to retain 1, as I understand.
Yes, he can only retain 1. And what this is actually, it's like making a football out of the electoral process. I mean, what we see here is that, because what's going to happen if the 8 seats are vacated, suppose he wins all the 9 seats. Let's hope he doesn't, but let's hope he does. Let's hypothetically assume that he does. And he gets and he vacates 8 of them. There would be bypolls again for 8.
Yeah.
And then what if he decides to resign from his seat and go again?
Yeah.
It's basically
So what do you think is he's trying to say? That is this like, he's trying to tell us how serious the political process is for him?
He wants this to be a referendum. He wants to show that he can stand up anywhere in the elections, and he's going to win the elections.
And then what will happen? I mean, of course, he does need a political party. He does need other people in his political party to contest. I think that somebody said from his political party, if I'm not wrong, the other day, that he can contest from all 133 or 145 seats. He can, I'm sure, but other political parties will then say that their leaders, like Nawaz Sharif Saab or other Mariam Nawaz, or all, if they chose to stand from all the seats, that it's just. Don't you think it'll lead to a kind of it's becoming a joke rather?
It is. It's entirely a joke. What we have here is the political process being brought into paralysis because of egos, and this, I'm sorry to say, is Mr. Imran Khan's ego that is speaking. The fact that he could actually turn around and say, look, I can win wherever I want to. you know, fine, you can win wherever you want to, but there has to be some sort of sense that should prevail, and you should realize that there is a certain amount of propriety that is required of a political leader.
A certain kind of sanctity. Let me come back to you. I'll go to Asif Saab. Asif Saab, you know, you've also written about this, but in generally speaking, there is, you know, you think there is an overall lack of sanctity, lack of seriousness in our political process today, because we see, you know, even before the resignations, whether they were going to be accepted or not, whether the resignations were actually made or not, you know, it's also a question of being more loyal to your leader than to Pakistan, which has certainly come into play also to the, you know, for the highest office of Pakistan at this time also, and that's come into some criticism. So overall, how do you look at it?
Thank you very much. I think I am in total conformity with your opinion. Actually, Imran Khan is exploiting the room within the system to jolt and shake the system. And he may or may not be right in doing this. Some people say that he is countering the moves by the government, by the Speaker of National Assembly. But as an ordinary citizen, I have a very simple question. Why the people of Pakistan is supposed to bear the expenses? This is the question. I mean, Imran Khan contested from 5 seats in general elections. 4 seats he left. For that bypoll, why I am supposed to pay for that? Why we should pay the brawls? And now Imran Khan is contesting on 9 seats. As he has said, my friend has said, suppose he wins 8 seats or 9 seats, then he can retain only 1. What about other seats? There will be a bypoll again. Will the same Mr. Imran Khan will be the candidate on all those seats? So this is, I mean, this is joke with the national exchequer. However, I cannot say that only Imran Khan is responsible for this. Imran Khan is exploiting this room provided within the system.
Also, there's as I understand, there's a law in India now. It's been changed.
There is in 1994. Actually, it was Indian Election Commission who went to the Supreme Court and he contested. The government at that time didn't, I mean, support the idea of Election Commission. But Election Commission was successfully conveyed his message, his opinion, his argument before the Honorable Supreme Court, before the Supreme Court of India, and now one candidate can contest only on 2 seats.
Which is fair.
And even this, even as per the opinion of Election Commission of India, this is not fair. Election Commission of India has recently written a letter to the Law Ministry of India that one person should be restricted only to contest 1 seat. And this is not the case with Imran Khan. There are 2 other examples, if you kindly allow me. What about Faisal Wada? It was Faisal Wada who made false statement with the Election Commission, and due to his false statement, his concealment, he was deseated and there was a new election. The fault lies with Mr. Wada and why the people of Pakistan were supposed to pay for that by-election. Another case is of Shah Mahmood Qureshi Sahib. His son vacates 1 seat. He contests another seat, he becomes a member of the Punjab Assembly, and his daughter is now the candidate of the seat left by his own son. So this is a family arrangement. Why I am supposed to pay for that family arrangement? So there should be legislation, at least either you restrict them on 1 or 2 seats. I think you cannot restrict political parties' leaders to 1 seat. There should be a room for
but
them.
there has to be an across the board
law.
It can't be different for the leaders.
You can say that leaders can contest on 2 seats. I mean, you can say.
But then you have to define leader.
Yes,
and then
leaders, political party leader. Because it may it be Nawaz Sharif Sahab, Zardari Sahab, Imran Khan Sahab. They are, after all, national leaders. They can contest from any election. But this is not such, I mean, theatrics that they are going to contest from 9 seats. Either you restrict them for 1 or 2 seats, or there should be a law that political party or the concerned candidate must bear the expenses on the bypolls. So this is joke. Bypoll is not a joke. You have to print new ballot papers. You have to deploy police, rangers, security agencies.
There's a lot of paraphernalia involved, and there's a lot of effort involved by the Election Commission. By
if you calculate the whole expenditures, I think that one constituency costs you around 20 or 30 crores.
Okay. Let me
so
come back to you.
Who's going to pay for that?
I'm going to go to Kaisar Saab. Kaisar Saab, how is the government looking at this this assertion, this statement that has come from Imran Khan Saab as to his contesting on 9 of these seats? G, can you hear me? Okay, I can't. G, Abdullah, why is Imran Khan Sahab insisting that he'll contest on these 9 seats? Why is there, the power show that we are talking about? There is this, generally speaking, the power show that you're saying the 13th is going to be another power show for PTI. Why does the PTI need power shows? What are you trying to tell people? What are you trying to tell the government? There have been reports that this has to do with the foreign funding case. The judgment, of course, of the foreign funding case is now in. So what is the purpose of these power shows as far as the PTI is concerned?
MAHRUKH, thank you for having me on your show. I just wanted to say that let's talk about the elephant in the living room. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is the most popular party in Pakistan at this moment in time. That's a fact that everyone has to deal with. Some people choose to ignore it. Some people choose to bury their head in the sand like ostriches, but they cannot deny the fact that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is the most popular party. If the Punjab by-polls can be any indicator, if general elections were to happen today, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is set to be on mark for winning 2/3 majority in parliament. Now, let's talk about the joke that is being referred to by fellow observers, participants today. The joke here is on the speaker who has chosen to disregard the previous Deputy Speaker Qasim Suri Saab's decision to accept the resignations of all of PTI's the resignation of all the PTI MNAs, and they decide to instead impose a piecemeal process of doing 9 at a time. So the joke here is that the Pakistan people have seen how over the last 3.5 years the PDM cabal have been crying
But Abdullah,
themselves
again,
hoarse
my question is, okay, even if, let me interject please. As far as your assertion is concerned, as I understand your assertion that PTI is, the most popular party, whether it is that popular or not, why would, the power show is targeted to prove that it is the most powerful political party? Is that why you've decided to hold this power show now, or is it, targeted at something else? What is the purpose? That's my question.
MAHRUKH, PTI, unlike the other political parties in this country, have got no targets. We've seen how the other parties have had targets, some at forces in Pindi, somewhere else, but Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is a party that every citizen aspires to be a part of, and the power show is just for our own party activists and to demonstrate the popularity that this party enjoys up and down this country.
Okay,
and
that is
what PDM fears about. Yes.
Right, fair enough. Okay, it's for you activists, granted. Let me come back to you. Kaisi Saab, how are you looking at this new assertion by Imran Khan Saab to contest on 9 of those 11 seats that have been vacated? What do you think he's trying to prove, his popularity, and how does the government look at this, considering the expense, of course, to the Election Commission, the inconvenience of it, all of those things?
MAHRUKH, thank you very much for taking me in this important topic program. So you see, I feel that Imran Khan is just making mockery of the system. He is not only a joke, but he does want to just derail this system. How can this be possible that if he contests from all seats, for example, he wins. He may be a popular person and he may win. Then again, to go to another election for 8 seats, still they have a lot of seats in the National Assembly. His first mistake, rather blunder, was that when he resigned with all his members from the National Assembly. So this was a good opportunity for him. We had a majority of 2 seats. I don't know in anger or in retaliation or what happened. So he is against the system. He doesn't want this democratic system to prevail. This is how, for example, MAHRUKH, if we announce, his demand is to announce new elections. For example, new elections are there. And again, one party gets 60%, another party gets 35% or 40%. And if next week that party resigns from the National Assembly, and then the same thing happens. So in this case, this system cannot prevail, this assembly cannot run, and he is not in favor of democratic system, in fact. This shows very clearly. He may be a popular, if he is a popular.
You're saying that the
he may-
system can then not continue. On that note, let me come back to you. Yasir, I was talking to some, a very, I don't want to name who, but a legal constitutional expert. And he was saying that, the government can, if they want, let him go unopposed. And if they do let him go unopposed, what will happen is that whichever, he will win on all the seats, and then he will end up, it's again going to be, it's a cycle. So if they want to call his bluff, it's one way of doing it. But then again, my question is, are we playing with the political system of this country? Are we not taking our democracy seriously? Are we not taking our election commission seriously? Are we not taking the people who make, who earn their bread and butter there seriously? Are they supposed to be at the whims of political leaders who want to prove things? What kind of a country are we going to be making for the future of our, for our generations to come? What are we saying? That people can get away with what they want, the leader of political parties can get away with what they want. What kind of a tone are we setting?
I'm afraid this is something more sinister.
Okay.
I think, and I'm sorry if this sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I think that this is one of those moves we hear, there's a certain cabal that goes on chanting presidential system. There are a lot of people who don't like the word parliamentary system or don't like the phrase parliamentary system and want the presidential system. So this is one way of showing the absurdity of it. But like Asif Saab was saying, this can be easily rectified by making a law saying, a person can only contest on X number of seats, maybe 2 seats, and that's about it.
And there's nothing to prevent the government from doing this at this time, because they have majority in the parliament. He's not in the parliament. They don't have any opposition in the parliament. So if they legislate today, then, of course, it doesn't matter, and it will be a prospective legislation, as I understand. So he can't then contest on, that's how it will be.
Yes, precisely. And I think one of the things that we have to realize as Pakistanis, as citizens of this country, as people who want the constitution to prevail, that Pakistan's constitution says that it's a federal parliamentary democracy with Islamic provisions blended into it. Unless we remain a parliamentary democracy, we are not going to have any progress.
You're saying that this is targeted to change the system?
It is.
And how is that going to happen?
Well, once you show the absurdity of it, tomorrow you're going to have a referendum saying, look,
it's not going to work, so let's go.
It's not going to work, and Imran Khan wins this referendum, the 9 seats that he's contesting on. So he shows that he's the popular person, and that there should be popular elections between 2 or 3 candidates all over the country saying XYZ should be your ruler, just like in the US, for example, whatever the electoral college issue there is. However, I feel that this is one of those sinister attempts to undermine the parliamentary democracy in Pakistan.
Do you agree, Asif Saab? Do you think that what Yasir is saying holds merit? Because we are, certainly issues with our parliamentary democracy have been exposed in a very unflattering way recently.
Have been exposed, are being exposed, and shall be exposed in the days to come. I think this is blessing in disguise. Our follies are being exposed.
Are you rooting for a presidential
Parliament? No. Parliament is supposed to undo, or you can say legislate on these things. These absurdities should be removed.
But we need that kind of seriousness from the parliament also. We need them to be serious about legislation also.
I think people are criticizing, and Parliament is supposed to respond to this challenge.
Which Parliament?
If the existing Parliament.
The existing Parliament minus the resignations.
I think Parliament sans Imran Khan is also a Parliament.
Right, of course.
Imran Khan is not end of the world.
Right.
And neither the world has started from the World Cup of 1992.
True.
Before.
But let me go to Kaisar Saab on that note. Kaisar Saab, why do you expect there to be legislation on this? Do you think, because certainly, on a lot of issues, legislation seems to be the ultimate solution. Are there thoughts of moving towards legislation to circumvent this kind of non-seriousness at all?
Yes, MAHRUKH, definitely there should be legislation. But in this scenario, when almost 50% of the seats had been won, or 45-6% of the seats have been won by PTI, and they have resigned, all their members have resigned on the plea of their leader. I think this is what actually is being mentioned, that this is to prove that the parliament is not working, and it may not work in future, and it may be a move towards the presidential system, and this system cannot prevail in this condition. If we don't have a consensus between our parties and we sit together, we make rules together. If only, I don't agree with it that only if PMLN or other combined parties we have majority, but a very thin majority. If we make the rules like this, even then these will be challenged, and all the parties should, they are sincere to Pakistan. They want the Pakistan to develop. So all of us should sit together. And after that, with the consensus of the parties, having some charter of democracy and charter of economy, only then this matter can be resolved. Of course, this is a move to just dismember the parliament and all that. Pardon? You are saying something? So we should definitely, all parliamentarians should have some collective collective wisdom. Otherwise, Pakistan, we saw last 4 years. What is happening? It is not being, all other countries are developing. We are quarreling and just having differences and just fighting with each other, the parties. So this is not the solution. There should be a solution which should be in the benefit of our whole people of the country, and Pakistan has potential. We should utilize that potential. I strongly feel that, of course, Imran Khan is in opposition. He is not playing this game fairly, but still I feel we should invite PTI. We should get together. We should try to convince him, or otherwise there is no other solution. Just this system will vanish. I feel the system is not working because this system is not giving benefit to the people of Pakistan, in my opinion. I am a parliamentarian since 25 years. Yes.
Ji, let me go to Abdullah. I think he's a little outnumbered. Ji, Abdullah, you want to say something? Please go ahead.
MAHRUKH, basically, there's nothing sinister happening. There's lots of conspiracy theories going around Islamabad about presidential system. None of that is happening. What is in fact is happening is we have a regime in power which is not popular. It does not have the confidence of the people of Pakistan, or the majority of the people of Pakistan at this moment in time. Now, I'm intrigued to hear the discussions about the other participants today, that we have a parliamentary democracy, we're this, we're that. But what they don't understand and appreciate is this is a Westminster-based democracy. There's a Westminster Convention that whenever a party comes into power through the means of a vote of no confidence, it has to hold a general election within 90 days. In this case, a general election has been kicked down the road like a tin can. And their PDM government, the coalition government, are doing their damnedest to ensure that the elections are held next year in October, instead of being held this year, which was their initial plan. I mean, you can go back to the footage being played by where Bilawal Zardari Sahib and Maulana Fazlur Rahman, their joint press conference, where one reporter asked them, when will you be holding general elections? They're like, oh, we just came to power to deal with the accountability legislation and the electoral laws, and as soon as those are done, we'll be holding general elections. Well, the people of Pakistan have not held their breath. They knew for a fact that this was not going to happen. They were surprised at the sudden surge in popularity of Prime Minister Imran Khan, and that is why their maneuvers are in place to ensure that some kind of election does not happen till next year. So my humble submission is that the parliament has been made a joke of by the PDM. They've tried to derail the parliamentary process for the last 3.5 years, and the election commission sat by doing nothing. They did nothing when the videos of Gilani Saab surfaced. Gilani Saab's son surfaced last year trying to buy votes during the Senate election. Nothing was done in the past when the Mehran Gate decision came by the Supreme Court. Nothing was done 20 years ago when a certain terrorist was known to have funded a particular party in this country to bring a vote of no confidence against Benazir Bhutto Sahiba. So the merry-go-round goes around and around. The thing is, this time it is getting serious. The people of Pakistan's patience has worn thin. They want to have elections. They want to have a party in power that can resolve their economic problems. And unfortunately, PDM is not it. Thank you.
Okay, let me come back to you. Ji, Yasir, you've been listening to what Abdullah is saying.
First of all, there is no such convention in parliamentary democracy that you have to hold elections. Parliament actually remains on charge on batteries till it actually finishes its term. So when the government, there's an in-house change, the government remains, it's a valid government, and it remains in power. It is perfectly legitimate. So that's one thing. I feel that with the PTI, I mean, this claim that they're the most popular party needs to be tested, obviously.
By the elections?
By the elections. Elections will happen in due course, and we'll see. Even if people of Pakistan decide that they have to come back, they have to, nobody's going to stand in their way. Nobody should stand in their way. I mean, it goes without saying that constitutional democratic norms should prevail. But this idea, I mean, it's not me alone who's scared about, it's every time something goes wrong in this country, the clamor for a presidential system just
But he's saying that there's no such move at play at this time. Of course, there are things being said, but we don't know if those are. There's also a recent move, a lot of talk against the president at this time, and the fact that some decisions taken by him. Let me go to Asif Saab. Asif were taken more in allegiance to a particular political party than in the interests of Pakistan. How do you look at that, the way that's going around against the president? Because we've also seen, when the vote of no confidence happened, we saw Qasim Suri resign, and we saw, there was criticism against some of the decisions that he'd taken. And again, it was about allegiance to his own party leader than it was to, his own office as Speaker of the House. That is something that has recently been at an issue overall.
Many hopes were attached to Imran Khan, and I feel pain to say that he has not proved. I mean, I have no question about popularity of Imran Khan. My question is why I am supposed to pay when Imran Khan is going to prove his popularity.
Okay, yeah, that I think is a question.
I'm supposed to pay for that. Imran Khan or PTI or Abdullah Kalu Sahab should pay to prove that we are too popular. Why I'm supposed to pay for that, number one. And number two, I think there is another reference against Imran Khan sent by the Speaker. An election commission is supposed to decide that reference on or before 2nd of September. And Imran Khan may be disqualified by the election commission. I think there are ifs and buts. There are too many ifs and buts.
At this time, things seem to be up in the air. We don't know for certainty which way things are.
However, some murky areas are before us, and Parliament should legislate upon that.
Right. Kaisat was saying that we want all parties to come together. We want them to legislate on issues. We want them to talk about important issues. But Kaisat, we haven't, there's no response from Imran Khan Saab till now. He doesn't want to come on the table. He's saying he's intent on proving his popularity at this time. He wants to contest from 9 seats. He wants to prove. He wants to do power shows, and they seem to be targeted again to show how much of popularity he has, as far as elections are concerned. So in that kind of a situation, how does the PMLN hope to proceed? Are you going to go forward with the legislations?
MAHRUKH, you are very right. We have been advocating when our leader of opposition, Mr. Shahbaz Sharif, and even Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, and myself, we have many speeches when we advocated for the Charter of Economy, and even to have consensus and to sit together. But Imran Khan negated all these efforts. He says, I cannot sit with the leader of opposition. Then now he says that the Chief Election Commission, he doesn't believe in Chief Election Commission. Then about courts, when there was a no confidence move and courts, Supreme Court were opened at 12 o'clock, he said that why the courts are opened at night. So each and everything, he doesn't believe in, he feels that America has made a regime change. So he's against each and every institution, each and every norm. I don't know why people are feeling that he's a popular. I don't feel that he's a popular person. He could not deliver. He could not deliver during his tenure of about 4 years.
The fact that he's popular on those 9, on the by-polls and the results of the by-polls.
Okay, that we can see. We can see the result of the by-poll. I don't feel that he can win all this. I as a politician don't feel that if he contests all these seats, 9 seats, he can win all these seats. It's not so easy. Each and every constituency and each and every area has their own plus points, their own merits, and they vote for their the person who is very close to them and who is approachable to them. But anyhow, that has to be seen. My point is that he is neither delivering himself, just blaming each and every institution and everybody. He is not in favor of development of Pakistan, but rather now when he says that he is against America, or America made a regime change. So what happens? Can we go to get IMF funds? Can we have a green signal for the PATF, FATF? So why this? I don't know why he's against all this, and he wants to make our economy just in worst conditions. He doesn't know and no aptitude of economic development and how. Just he can say no. He is claiming to have a charter of to have a Riyasat-e-Madina. But when we see that he himself received gifts and then he sold that, he got at 50%. Then he sold in the market. Now, if this can be okay, this may be lawful. If he was Sadiq and Amin, he must have changed that law. Because if this law prevails, then billions of rupees foreign badshahs and kings and princes can give to Pakistan. And then on 50, any leader or any prime minister or president, they can get those gifts and sell in the market. And what do you say about corruption? He claiming to be a person who teaches and morality. But what is the morality? Is it a morality that a head of government, a head of state gets gifts and then he sells it, purchases at 50%?
Unfortunately, we're running out of time for this segment. Thank you for joining us. Abdullah, your quick comments. I just want to know, as far as this whole, this whole narrative of popularity is concerned, the last time the PTI came into power, there may be at this time, people may not be thinking about that as much, but there were issues with their governance. There were issues, there were allegations of corruption, there were overall allegations of mismanagement, all of those things. There has to be that kind of preparation, and Imran Khan himself said on numerous occasions when he was Prime Minister that, when we came in, we didn't realize how bad the situation was. So in this time round, when he brings his team, will he be prepared for the kind of situation the country has, or is it just, is there a plan to have the elections and nothing, after that? The PTI is cognizant of that, right?
MAHRUKH, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is ready to face the elections. They're ready to face the ultimate arbiter of power in Pakistan, which is the Pakistani people. Hold the elections tomorrow, have nothing to fear, and Pakistan will win 2/3 majority. We will not be blackmailed by any allies or so-called allies as we were in the past. We will not be derailed by PDM, and we will be working for the people day and night. I just want to tell the people of Pakistan the last 100 days is simply a trailer of what to expect of the collective misgovernance that PDM has had to offer Pakistan. The dollar has been in free fall, has touched 247 rupees, the highest since 1947. The basic commodities prices are touching the skies, and the people are out on the streets. No electricity, no jobs.
Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for this segment. Thank you for being with us. I want to go to Noor Swirki, who's a social activist in Gaza, and we want to talk about what's happening as far as Palestine is concerned. What is the situation there, and the Israel atrocities there, the situation on the ground. Noor, can you hear me? Noor, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Could you please update us a little bit about what's happening as far as the situation on the ground is concerned, vis-a-vis the strikes in Gaza and the operations that are happening by the occupied forces? Noor?
Well, the situation, yeah,
Ji.
the situation is still critical. It's not the time of the ceasefire as it's announced. We still have some hours to have an active or effective ceasefire. So still there is this fighting between the both sides, the Israeli sides and the Islamic Jihad side. Some from time to time there is some rockets and some bombardment for some buildings in the Gaza Strip. In general, we for the fatalities, we lost 31 fatality. 6 of them are children and 4 of them are women. We have more than 200 injuries, and we had and there is a bombardment for 9 civilian buildings. This includes at least 1,500 residential units. So there is too many families. At least there is 40 family who has no home now, and tens others have their homes with some damage, which is severely damaged or medium damage. So they can't live in the current situation, live in it, but they have other shelters for with families and relatives. So and we still have the power supply shortage, and for only 4 hours of power for the Gaza Strip, and this affects the water supplies for homes and all the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip. We have this shortage of the medical care and the medication in the hospitals. At least there is a shortage of 40% of the services and the medication there. So the humanitarian situation is still critical, and the security situation also is still critical. All the people, all the Gazans here are looking and for the news, which we're calling, which we're speaking and talking about the ceasefire, which will come effectively in the upcoming hours when the Egyptian mediation announced that.
Noor, what about women and children? Are they, is there, as far as safety is concerned, as far as getting them to safe places is concerned, what is the situation there?
Well, there is no safe place in the Gaza Strip. That's the truth. So any try to make a safe place in the Gaza Strip, even for children, women, young people, elders, there is no safe places at all, and people just try to make it safe, but it's not safe because anytime you could be targeted if you were warned by the Israeli forces or not. It's just like heaven, you lost your life or get injured at any time. So there is no safe place for the children. It's affecting their life, their mental health situation. We see in the videos, short videos on the social media, we hear those children not only crying, but they are describing their feelings. And when they lost their parents, let's say, or some of their relatives, sisters, brothers, some friends who were playing with them in the neighborhood. So it's hard for the children and for the eldest. In fact, also it's a hard situation for all the people here in Gaza Strip.
Why do you think the ceasefire hasn't happened till now? As you were talking about a delay in ceasefire, as I understand.
Yeah, there was in the beginning there was this news talking about the 5 p.m. that there will be an announcement from the Egyptian side that will have a ceasefire in the upcoming hours, and it will be effective, let's say, at 8. The 5 p.m. came and there was no announcement from the Egyptian side. Now there's some news talking about the announcement will be at 8 p.m. and it will be effect at 10. So it's still news. We didn't have, but it seemed like there is some agreements, in fact, between the both sides, but still there is maybe some negotiation, some let's targets. It's not clear, in fact, but the clear thing that there is a ceasefire, but it's not known till now at which time it will take effect, will be effective for the Gazan people and Israeli side.
What about access to food and water, supplies, all of those things? Is that available?
Well, it's not available now because we have the closure of the cross points and from the 2nd of the August. So before the escalation, for 3 days of the escalation, and that was alarming, in fact, because Israel didn't do that unless it has a target. So it was expected at some point, but it wasn't expected like this aggressive. So at this, from the 2nd till now, the crossing point is closed. The Ares point, the Kerem Shalom crossing, and in particular the Kerem Shalom, it's specialized to receive the fuel, the goods, and the medical aid, let's say the relief aids from the other countries and organizations. So it's completely closed, and this affects the daily life and the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip, because we feel this shortage in the markets and some goods, and also it's particularly affecting the fuel supplies, because it was cutting from the 2nd of the from the 5th of the August, because we have some supplies of fuel before the attack on the 5th of the August, and we have this shutdown of the power plant generators, and now we are working only with 4 hours of power. This affects the work of the hospitals, the medical care station, the water supplies also, because the municipalities need this power to pump this supplies of water to homes and to neighborhoods, and it's not available, in fact. So we also facing this water supplies cutting in homes and in the public facilities for the people, and still we are working with the minimum level that they are working in now in the current very critical situation and emergency time. So we are looking for this ceasefire because we need this fuel supplies. We need the crossing points to be opened because there is some needs, and also it affects the patients who is traveling between the Gaza Strip and the West Bank to have the medical care there in the West Bank, which is other part of the Palestinian territories, and they still there they can't access to the Gaza Strip, and the patient from the Gaza Strip can't access there for the medical care, and this affects their lives. In fact, they can lose their lives at any time.
Noor, thank you so much for updating us in the circumstances and telling us in detail what the overall situation is vis-a-vis the supplies, the shortage of food and fuel, and what's happening as far as women and children are concerned, and of course the delay in ceasefire at this time. Thank you so much for being with us. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you for joining us. Barrister Yasir Latif Hamdani, thank you for being with us. Asif Mahmood Saab, thank you for joining us. Kaisar Ahmed Sheikh, thank you for being with us. Abdullah Mumtaz Kaloon, thank you for joining us today. As far as the overall political situation is concerned, certainly the parliamentary style of politics at this time, democracy at this time, has been exposed. The problems have been exposed. Of course, areas where legislation is needed very, very critically have also been exposed. One of those is perhaps one candidate's ability to contest from numerous seats, and perhaps that needs to be looked into, perhaps that needs to be legislated on, because certainly it's a question of seriousness, revenue, efforts as far as the Election Commission is concerned, and then, you know, of course, having so much of manpower at play and resources of which Pakistan scarcely has. Overall, as far as seriousness is concerned, certainly we need a kind of seriousness across the board from all political parties. We've had the Prime Minister implore all political parties to at this time perhaps come together and talk about a charter of governance, economy, so that the critical situation that Pakistan is in this time can be dealt with. And then, of course, he's also said that politics is something that can happen later on. Let's hope that we can have that kind of an attitude across the board from all political parties. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.